Hey guys, how's it going? This is MrCamoGaming, bringing you guys another Destiny video. Today we're going to be doing another episode of Destiny Talk, and in today's episode we're going to be discussing the exotic weapon buffs and nerfs that are upcoming in patch 2.0, and whether they are a good thing or a bad thing. So to prepare for the launch of the Taken King, Bungie will be releasing patch 2.0 very soon. A part of this patch will include buffs and nerfs to several exotic weapons in the game, including weapons such as Thorn, Gjallarhorn, Hawkmoon, The Last Word, and No Land Beyond. However, some community members are complaining about some of the changes to the weapons, saying that some of the nerfs on Thorn and Gjallarhorn are too big and Bungie should reconsider the changes they are making. Today we're going to discuss the changes on each weapon, and I'm going to give my opinions on the changes to each weapon. We'll start with Hard Light, an exotic auto rifle that will be receiving a buff in patch 2.0. The buff includes increased base stability, increased bounce count for projectiles, and projectiles will no longer be affected by damage fall off. In my opinion, this buff is definitely necessary for the Hard Light in the state that it's in right now, but I still have a feeling that the weapon will not quite be as good as some of the other exotic auto rifles, such as the Suro's Regime and the Necrochasm. Actually, the next weapon we'll be talking about is the Necrochasm, which will be receiving a buff in this patch. The buff includes increased base stability, increased magazine size, and updates to the Cursebringer exotic perk on the gun. From what Bungie have said about the changes to the Necrochasm, it sounds like the gun will become a pretty strong weapon to use, and I think it might finally live up to the standards that players were hoping for when the Necrochasm was first released with the Dark Below. However, we'll have to wait and see when the patch is finally released. Next up we have The Last Word, which is an exotic hand cannon. In patch 2.0 it will be receiving a nerf alongside the other exotic hand cannons in the game as of right now. This nerf will include reduced base range and stability, and reduced effective range while aiming down sights, but will also increase accuracy and precision damage aim assist when firing from the hip. Overall, this nerf sounds like it is perfect for The Last Word. The reduced range and stability will stop players from getting long range kills as easily as they do now, and the buff to accuracy and precision damage aim assist when firing from the hip will encourage wielders of this hand cannon to fire from the hip a lot more often. Next we have what is possibly the most controversial change to an exotic on the list, which is the Thorn, an exotic hand cannon. As you probably know, the Thorn will be receiving a nerf in patch 2.0, which will involve reduced base damage on Thorn's damage over time perk, as well as allowing the damage over time to stack up to 5 times across multiple hits, which may sound like a buff at first, but will apparently reduce the lethality of the gun in PvP. This is one of the nerfs that some community members are getting a bit angry about, since the Thorn is one of the best PvP weapons in the game. They believe that this nerf is too much and that Bungie shouldn't nerf the gun as much as they have. Personally, I think this nerf is a great change to Thorn. All of the changes were directly to the Mark of the Devourer exotic perk, which means that the gun will perform pretty much the same as it did before patch 2.0. The only real difference is that damage over time on the gun will be less effective than it is now, and right now it is far too effective, at least in PvP. And so whether you like it or not, this change is necessary to the gun if Bungie wants the Crucible to be a balanced place to play. The next weapon we'll be talking about is the Hawkmoon, which is the final exotic hand cannon. Just like the other hand cannons, Hawkmoon will be receiving a nerf in patch 2.0, though this nerf is probably the least impacting of the 3 hand cannon nerfs. It will include an added stack limit to the luck in the chamber and holding aces, an additional 2 rounds in the magazine when holding aces is unlocked, and the damage bonus of the luck in the chamber rounds will be reduced by 3%. The reason this change was made was because of a very rare chance that you could one-shot enemies in the Crucible with Hawkmoon, if all 3 of the luck in the chamber shots stacked at the same time. This was very annoying, and due to its rarity, you probably didn't even know it could happen, but removing the chance of it happening is good so that Crucible players don't cower in fear to a possible one-shot from a hand cannon. The Icebreaker exotic sniper rifle is next on the list. This gun will be receiving a slight nerf in the patch, which is an increased recharge time of Icebreaker rounds to 1 round every 8 seconds rather than 5 seconds. This change isn't too damaging to the gun's overall performance, and good players will still be able to use the Icebreaker efficiently in PvE and PvP. Part of the reason this change is being made is likely because of glitches that players were able to perform with the Icebreaker, the main culprit being the heavy ammo glitch, which will now either be patched or will be much less easy to do because Icebreaker's rounds will take longer to recharge. Here's a buff a lot of you probably expected. The No Land Beyond exotic sniper rifle will be receiving a buff in patch 2.0. This will include increased weapon handling speed, adjusted sights, and some changes to the Master exotic perk. Overall, some Crucible players have been able to learn to use the No Land Beyond, but that doesn't change the fact that it's a difficult gun to use when you first pick it up. These changes will most likely help players who are new to using the gun pick up on how to use it much more quickly, which will be good for the weapon overall. There is actually a legendary weapon that is being nerfed in patch 2.0, which is the Black Hammer Legendary Sniper Rifle. It could easily be argued that this gun should be an exotic weapon, and that is why it will be receiving a nerf. The nerf will increase ammo inventory to 18 rounds, but the White Nail perk will now pull ammo from your inventory, meaning you'll no longer have infinite ammo if you can pull off consecutive headshots. In my opinion, this is the only change that I would argue has gone too far, and even then it's still a pretty good change. The only reason I think it's a little too far is because the reason that the Black Hammer was so good was because you could have infinite ammo as long as you were accurate with the gun. I think a good way that they could have changed the gun would be to remove perfect balance and replace it with something else. That way it would be more difficult to be accurate with the gun in order to activate the White Nail perk. Or maybe that would be a terrible change, I don't know. But even after what I have said, a change to Black Hammer was necessary, and I'm very glad it is receiving one. Now we have a newcomer to the list of exotic weapons. The Lord of Wolves exotic shotgun will be receiving a buff in the patch. This buff is mainly focused around the Lord of Wolves exotic perk, which gives nearby allies a recovery boost when they stand near you after you get a kill. The recovery boost bonus will now be tripled in the upcoming 2.0 patch. I think that this is a great change for the Lord of Wolves. At the moment, the Lord of Wolves is a pretty good weapon, but some people are mad that you don't receive the recovery boost and only your allies do. Now that this boost is being tripled, I think people will see the benefit of this gun in both PvE and PvP. Finally, we have the most controversial change to a gun as far as PvE goes, which is a nerf to the Gjallarhorn exotic rocket launcher. This nerf has been coming since the gun was found to be so effective, and now it is finally here. The change that is being made is not as drastic as you might think, as Bungie is simply reducing the amount of damage that Wolfpack rounds will deal. Some people are getting mad about this change, saying that the Gjallarhorn won't be as good when this happens, but that's the exact reason that Bungie are nerfing it, so that it won't be as good. At the moment, the Gjallarhorn is so good that people on LFG sites will demand that you own a Gjallarhorn in order to play with them, which isn't a good thing, and so it really needs to be nerfed for the sake of the community, as well as for the sake of the game. The nerf isn't all that much. People are reacting to this like basically they took away the ability to fire rockets and replaced it with a paper gun. Less damage on Wolfpack rounds is a great change, and in my opinion the Gjallarhorn is still going to be one of the most effective guns in the game after the patch. However, it does need to be nerfed in order to make room for some much needed competition for your exotic weapon slot. In my opinion, all of these changes are really good, and I think that Bungie has made some great decisions in patch 2.0. The only one that I'd argue is a little too much is the Black Hammer nerf, but even then the gun needed a change, and so I'm sure it won't be too much of an issue once the patch actually hits. So guys, that brings us to the end of the video. In the comment section, I want you to leave your opinions on this topic. Do you think that Bungie's gone too far with some of these nerfs, or do you think that many of these nerfs were long coming and really were needed? Let us know in the comment section below. But thank you guys for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, remember to smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for daily gaming content. Remember to follow me on Facebook, Twitter and Twitch, links in the description below, and I'll see you guys in another video. So until then, ciao.